So the fish food we use on this tank, which by the way is only cloudy because I've just added Easy Life to it, and the Easy Life is a product that we use quite regularly on tanks. Every service, every fortnightly service, we're using Easy Life on this particular tank. Does a magic job, takes a lot of stuff out of the water that you don't want in the water and puts stuff into the water that you want in the water. So it's a rebalancer. Getting back to the subject of fish food, this fish food is the only fish food that's fed to this tank. This tank has been set up now for more than a year. The fish are in absolutely peak health condition. Spectrum is the only food they get. They get no other food, and the way I've set it up for them to do Spectrum is I've got a little container here, and that's the one they open on a daily basis, and this one's only ever open to refill. So you treat your fish food a bit like you treat a breakfast cereal or biscuits. If you're opening up the main container, you're getting moisture in it every single time you open it, and it can end up going mouldy and going stale. This keeps it fresh. And the other thing that I've done is I've put in, for the staff here, paddle pop stick, which initially when the tank was set up they would have put that much food in each day, and now that the bacteria have cycled and everything's all set up, they go to this line with it, lift that out, and that's the daily feed for these fish in this tank. Now most people tend to have a problem because they overfeed their fish. Now if you overfeed the fish will still act hungry even after you've given them too much, but what's happening is you're polluting the water, you're having to work harder on your tank. More water changes, more filter cleans, more resources, more time goes into the tank. These fish require a volume of food roughly the equivalent of one eyeball of one fish per day. So each fish, one eyeball of that fish, is a feed amount in a day, is the maximum that they're likely to need, especially when it's Spectrum. Spectrum is an absolutely magic food. I've been using it as almost the exclusive food on tanks for at least the last 10 years. And it overcomes issues, like sometimes with carbon filtration, for instance, on your blue tangs, you're going to get that skin erosion problem that they tend to get, where they get pitting around the face. I've never had that happen on a tank that's got activated carbon and I'm feeding Spectrum, but I've certainly seen it on other tanks, but never on those tanks. There's something in Spectrum that helps them. The one I prefer to use is the Spectrum Thera A. Now the Thera A has natural anti-parasitic properties about it. So there are elements of it, I think a form of garlic goes into it, that helps the fish fight off various different diseases. So it's no more expensive than the standard one, or if it is, it's 2, 3, 4, 5% more. But it's Thera A is the one I prefer. I prefer to use it in a small size because it's good for the fish to work hard in the tank getting their food, and it saves greedy ones dominating the food as much if you're using a smaller pellet size. You use it in big pellet sizes, you'll find one greedy fish might get a third of the food in a single feeding. You don't want that. So Spectrum Thera A, magic food, really good.